Let me ask you something. How often do you start a task only to get distracted by a text, a notification, or a quick scroll through social media that somehow turns into 30 minutes?
It happens to all of us. In today's world, distraction is the default. We're constantly interrupted, multitasking, checking email, switching tabs, feeling busy, but not really productive.
Now, here's the real question. When was the last time you worked deeply? I mean, gave your full attention to one task for 1 hour with no distractions at all?
Most people can't even remember. But according to Cal Newport, the ability to focus without distraction is becoming rare and insanely valuable. In fact, he says it's the superpower of the 21st century.
In his groundbreaking book, Deep Work, Newport breaks down exactly why we struggle to focus, how it's costing us more than we realize, and how we can reclaim our ability to do meaningful, high-impact work.
This book isn't just about productivity. It's about living with intention. It's about doing work that matters instead of constantly reacting to everything around us. And the good news? Focus is a skill. You can train it, just like a muscle.
So if you feel overwhelmed, constantly distracted, or like you're not making real progress on the things that matter most, this episode is for you. Because today we're going to break down the key lessons from Deep Work and show you how to start practicing it right now.
And by the end of this episode, you'll know how to create distraction-free time, eliminate shallow work, and finally get back to producing your best work with less stress and more purpose.
Let's dive in. So, why does this book matter? Why should we care about deep work when we've already got to-do lists, deadlines, and dozens of things fighting for our attention every day?
Because Deep Work isn't just another productivity book, it's a wake-up call. Cal Newport argues that in today's digital world, the people who thrive aren't the ones who are always connected, always online, always available. They're the ones who can disconnect, go deep, and focus intensely.
He defines deep work as the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task, like writing, problem solving, strategizing, or learning something complex. This kind of work is rare, valuable, and meaningful.
Meanwhile, most of us are stuck in what Newport calls shallow work. Emails, Slack messages, endless Zoom calls, social media updates. Things that keep us busy, but don't actually move us forward.
And here's what's wild. Newport says that if you can master deep work, you'll produce more high-quality results in less time than someone who's constantly distracted. You'll become more creative, more productive, and less stressed.
Deep work matters because it's how we do the things that actually matter. The stuff that builds our careers, deepens our thinking, and creates lasting impact.
So in this episode, we're going to walk you through the core ideas from the book and show you how to start creating more space in your life for deep, focused work that truly matters.
Let's get into the key concepts.
All right, let's get into the meat of this book, the big ideas that make deep work such a game changer. We've pulled out the 5 most powerful concepts that you can start applying today.
And trust us, these are simple, practical shifts that can totally upgrade your focus, productivity, and peace of mind. Let's start with the first one.
1. Deep work versus shallow work. This is the foundation of the book. Newport divides all work into 2 categories, deep work and shallow work.
Deep work is when you focus without distraction on a task that pushes your cognitive limits, like writing, coding, strategizing, or learning something new. This kind of work creates real value and helps you grow.
Shallow work, on the other hand, is anything that's easy to do while distracted. Think checking email, attending status meetings, or scrolling through Slack. It feels productive, but it doesn't really move you forward.
The takeaway? Start becoming aware of how much of your day is spent in shallow work versus deep work. You can't improve what you don't measure.
2. Attention residue, the hidden cost of task switching. Ever jump between tasks like checking emails while working on a report and feel scattered afterward? That's called attention residue.
Every time you switch tasks, part of your brain stays stuck on the last thing you were doing. So even if you're technically working, your brain isn't fully present.
Newport says multitasking isn't just inefficient, it's harmful to the quality of your work. To do your best thinking, you need long, uninterrupted stretches of focus.
So instead of bouncing between 5 things, try this. Pick one important task. Block off time and go deep.
3. Embrace boredom. Rewire your brain for focus. We live in a world where boredom is almost extinct. The moment we feel restless, we grab our phones. But Newport says this constant stimulation is killing our ability to focus.
If your brain is always used to scrolling, swiping, and switching, you're training it to avoid stillness. And without stillness, you can't access deep thought.
So Newport challenges us to embrace boredom. Let yourself be bored without reaching for your phone. Sit in silence. Go for a walk without a podcast. Train your mind to be still again.
It's uncomfortable at first, but over time it builds serious mental strength.
4. Work like a craftsman. Value-driven focus.
This part was so good. Newport encourages us to approach our work like a craftsman, someone who works with care, precision, and purpose.
Instead of rushing through tasks or aiming for just done, start asking, what's the highest quality version of this work I can do right now?
That shift from getting it done to doing it well is a mindset that leads to mastery.
5. Create routines that support deep work. Finally, Newport says you can't rely on willpower to do deep work. You need systems. You need rituals and routines.
That means scheduling deep work into your day like a meeting. Same time, same place, distraction-free. It could be early mornings, late nights, or during a lunch break, but make it consistent.
He also recommends setting up clear boundaries. No phone, no social media, and ideally a dedicated workspace for deep work.
Even one 90-minute deep work session per day can completely transform your output. Let's recap the 5 big takeaways from deep work.
Deep work versus shallow work, and know the difference.
Attention residue. Multitasking is killing your focus.
Embrace boredom. Stillness builds focus.
Work like a craftsman. Do your work with care.
Build rituals. Make deep work a habit, not a hope.
Coming up next, we'll talk about how to actually apply these ideas in your daily routine.
All right, let's talk about how to make this real. Because reading about deep work is great, but applying it, that's where the real magic happens.
Let's be honest, most of us don't have 8 hours of uninterrupted time every day. But that's the beauty of this book. Newport isn't asking you to quit your job or go off grid. He's saying, protect just a little time each day for deep, focused work, and it can completely shift your output.
For me, it started with just one 90-minute block every morning. No phone, no email, just focused work on my most important task. And I got more done in that one block than I used to get done in an entire day of multitasking.
Same here. I began using the Pomodoro method. 25 minutes of deep focus, 5-minute break, repeat. Even those short sprints trained my brain to stay with one thing. I also turned off all non-essential notifications. Game changer.
And one tip that helped me a lot, I created a deep work playlist. Same music, same setup, every time. It tells my brain, hey, it's focus time. That simple cue makes it easier to drop into the zone.
You don't need a fancy setup. Just start with one habit. No phone in your focus time, no switching tabs, or just setting a timer. The key is consistency.
The more you train your brain to go deep, the easier it gets. And trust me, your creativity, productivity, and peace of mind will thank you for it.
So here's the bottom line. Deep work is your secret weapon. In a world full of noise, the person who can focus deeply will always have the advantage. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters, without distraction.
And here's your challenge. Block off just 60 minutes this week to do deep work. No phone, no multitasking, just you and the one task that really matters. Protect that time like your future depends on it, because it kinda does.
And we want to hear from you. What shallow work are you letting go of this week? What's the one thing you're going deep on? Drop it in the comments or message us on Instagram. We'd love to know.
And don't forget, you can help shape this podcast. Let us know which book you want us to break down next. We're always looking for great recommendations from you.
Next week, we're diving into Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, a raw, intense, and unbelievably inspiring story about mental toughness and owning your pain. You don't want to miss it.
So hit that follow button, and we'll see you next time on the Book Pod. Until then, stay focused, stay intentional, and keep doing the work that matters.